I'm doing now is I'm attaching a GoPro cam to my chest and I'm walking through my job sites. I think that's a whole lot better than me trying to see it with the iPhone and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of experimenting right now, and we'll just see. But on this particular job site right here, guys, so we got a couple different code things going on. These are mechanical guys. So the mechanical guys are coming in, and they're doing the final. They're doing their mechanical final. They're putting their mechanical stuff in the unit. They're setting the units. They're making the connections. They coming out of the side of the house doing certain things. There's certain things meet code. You guys are gonna see one or two things that meet codes, stuff like that. But this is kind of where we're at. So here we go. So get past all that. All right. So here we go. Anything until that gets taken care of. So if you guys look right over to your right, I left that over here when I just got finished talking to that guy, that subcontractor I was talking to. And that's another thing, man. These subcontractors got to get on my page, man. Because he told the homeowner the price. He never should quote prices with the homeowner. Because that sends a mixed message, guys. When you have these subcontractors, like my subcontractor giving them prices, because he don't know what else I need to charge them. And that's not fair to me. And then what happens is if he quote them a price for the little thing that he does, see, I got to look at, now the painter got to come in. I got to look at this guy, the plumber got to come in, do this right here. See, now I got to tack on all those prices. And then when I come and give them my price, then they're going to be like, oh, you the bad guy. Y'all see how this works? So he doesn't need to quote a price. He should have just said, well, hey, okay, I got what you want. I get with Emmett and he'll get your cost. That's how that's supposed to work, guys. So when you're dealing with these subcontractors, this is how you deal with them. You got to engage with them, man. And I remember one builder I knew, man, he wouldn't even let the subcontractors even talk to the homeowner. He didn't even allow it. Now I understand why, because they just don't get it. All right, here we go. Come on, guys, it's about business. I got to get rid of all these boxes out of here, man. So my HVAC guy should be here. We can hold on to these right here. So these are all the vents that we're going to put in when the floor is getting in. Well, I tell you, man, I can't wait to get these drives and walks in, man, so we got our grill in right here. And see, this is what I'm talking about, guys. So what's going to happen is the painter is going to come back and fix all this right here. Got our thermostat in, but the painter comes back and knock a lot of this stuff out the way. So they, and that's why you don't want to have a painter, you just kind of keep it going. But now, my plumber should be back over here, man. Boy, I tell you what, electrician looked like he left a lot of stuff kind of lingering, man. He just kind of got in here and, well, I guess, he got all the plugs in and everything, but that's kind of all he kind of did. But, most of my stuff is going to be filters and stuff. Well, I can't wait to get these drives and walks in next week, guys. You guys don't understand. Saying all this dirt. Oh, we got to go to unit. Yes, we haven't even gotten, so I guess you're going to connect it to that right there, but set up. It's always a good thing. Here, might have to do another trail. Get out here. Hey man, how y'all doing? Everybody good? Good deal. All right, so I'm gonna need a ballast right here, Emma, to keep these cars from hitting it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, probably most likely.
It's probably gonna be right here. Yeah, I think the code guy, put it right there. Yeah. You ain't got no pencil, do you?
What do you need? Sharpie pencil, something.
I got one in the car, man, but I just want to kind of get that. There we go. So about right here, right?
Is it posted, so you don't, just in case they.
So that's for the unit. So that's when cars come in, you don't want that car to hit that. So we're gonna have a little, like this right here, stop by right there. I'm gonna need one over there too. Yeah. So that's another code thing, man. The code is gonna require me to put what they call I think it's called a bolus, and you put it there so that when the cars come in, they won't just hit the unit. Somebody won't, like my wife won't come in there and drive in and make a mistake and turn and hit the unit like she hit the garage door. So I just want to kind of know what these guys are gonna be. Well, that's right here, man.
That's the IRC.
Oh, that's the 90%?
That's the 9%.
Oh, gotcha. Y'all need anything, y'all? Any questions?
I got a question actually.
Oh.
So we gotta be within a 5 feet radius of any windows or basically anything for those IPEX. So I was about to call my boss also. So we're trying to, this whole sheetrock thing actually messed it up. So we were trying to run it above all the sheetrock, you won't be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if there are the sheetrock, I'm trying to see, I'll just show you. I need a hole, about a 4-inch hole.
Yeah.
I want this work for you.
That's fine. Do we need a bore hole there? No, the deck is coming down right here, so that's not gonna be in the way. You need a hole right here?
Yeah.
Where you need it at?
5 feet from windows and deck.
Okay, you point to the place where you want it at. I mean, yeah, you can put a hole. You got something that can drill it?
That's the thing I don't.
Okay, so I did the holes over. I had the guy to do the holes. I wish I'd have known. I could have went on and put you guys a hole here too.
Yeah, we don't know. This is my first time coming to this.
Yeah, tell you what, mark where you want that hole at, and let me see if I can get somebody that can get a hole there for you.
Okay, and also, are you the builder free?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and also I was gonna ask you, you're gonna have to run it under the sheetrock. Is that okay?
The only thing,
It's not gonna look as pretty.
I'll tell you what I would do.
Or I give you another deal. He gave me one. You can run it, you can open up the sheetrock. The decision right here.
Yeah.
Run the IPEX over.
Come on. Where does that come up at?
It's coming up from here.
Yeah, it's gonna come over there. Yeah. Go ahead and go ahead and if you can run your piece up, if you can get up in here and not mess up you guys stuff. Because the reason we had to do the sheetrock, guys, is for the fire. The fire protection. Yeah. It's a firewall.
Yeah.
So you can run up in here. And I don't know if you can see, but if you got to cut a hole every so often to get your pipe through it, and then you can run it up. You can run it up. You might be able to get it up in here. But however you gonna do it, you're gonna have to come down over here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over there.
So if you got to come down, I think if you got to come down right here and then go this way, that's fine. I would try to wrap this. Like if I got to come out right here and then wrap up around here, make it stay as tight as possible to the ceiling. I don't have a problem with that. You can go out there and you can mark where you want your hole at, and I'll get somebody to get it. We'll figure out a way to get a hole in there. I put the holes over those holes for your Freon.
Yeah.
So if I'd known, I'd had that guy to put those in there too. So we drill those holes in there too. And so yeah, if you got to go up in there, that's fine. So that's the pipe that's gonna stick out, right?
That's it.
So it's gonna stick out there.
So I'll make the measuring for this.
Okay. But you can't go. Well, you got to stay away from the window. God dog. 5 feet. 5 feet from the window. 5 feet under the deck. So look like you need to be about right here.
Yeah, that's the only option in this one.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Can you go straight out that way?
It's still.
The door. Oh, you got that door. Yeah. That's it. It is what it is.
Well, I just want to make sure with you.
No, man, you guys are good, man. I mean, hey, man, and I'm gonna fix all this sheetrock stuff because we got all kind of stuff. I was just talking about that. My painter's gonna have to come back. Sheetrock guy, they're gonna come back. They're gonna fix it. You see? Okay. All right, guys. Anything else? I'm glad I came out here. I think that worked out pretty good. You guys do a good job, man. I'm Kerry, man. He's the best. He's the best I've seen, man. And I've been doing this 20 plus years. Yeah. All right, man. You guys have a good one. All right. So, I'm just kind of looking at, if you guys understood what he's saying, so those pipes, that's a 90% efficient unit. So that unit is it's going to be more efficient than a regular gas unit. It's like 90%. So either you put 90% unit, and I should have a heat pump upstairs. But that's going to be very energy efficient for these. Heat pump just means all electric. So the unit is the one that I saw first, that's all electric. Okay. And this right here is going to be, this is gas, but it's a 90% efficient gas. They ought to like that. But when you're coming out, you're exhausting out with that unit, with that gas, you have to be so far away from a window, which is right here. And then you can't be under a deck because those fumes can't go up and get trapped up under that deck. So that's another thing, guys. So I'm just kind of coming back here. So those guys are going to come out that wall right there, and that's what my units are going to be. Let's kind of see what my units are going to be. We may have to, let me just ask this guy one more thing. Hey, man, I got one more thing, man. Do y'all got to be about the condensers? Do y'all know where y'all going to place them at? Let me just kind of have an idea of where they're going to go. It's another cold thing right here too, guys. Yeah, because I don't think you can go right by that power box, but you can put it right here on the side. You can put this one on the side and that one right there.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? So you got one. So where you set the unit outside, the little unit so we was gonna put this right here, but the HVAC guy put his stuff right here. So this has to be so far away from this by their code. This power box had to be so far away from the vent, from the dryer. So that shifted this guy over, right? And since this guy shifted over, then the units was going to be right here and right here. So now I'm going to put one unit here because it got to be like 6 inches away from the power. So I put one unit here and maybe one unit here. Does that make sense? All right. You got one that can go right here. I don't know. I think, one can go right here and one can go right here. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. Now, if you can get both of them right here and it's not against y'all code with this right here, I don't know you guys' code like y'all know it. Y'all might want to get with Kerry. I don't know how far I got to be away from this guy right here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put it in.
Yeah, so if you put it here, I don't have a problem with that. And he had to shift his over because of this dryer vent.
Yeah.
You see that dryer vent there? So he had to shift his over, which shifts you guys over, Or if you got your gas is gonna come out right here. Gas stub out is gonna come out right there. So you can't push it. So if you gotta put one here and one here, I think that'll meet what you need to do now. I guess you have to wrap that thing over here.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
All right.
We'll put a bush there to hide it. All right, buddy. Hey, man, y'all take it easy. And if y'all need anything, man, just tell Kerry to give me a call. All right, man. So. All right, guys. So we got this right here. All right, guys, I'm trying this right here. I got a couple of things I'm bringing over here. We had a framing inspection today. We failed our framing inspection. And the things were legitimate. I missed it. I actually missed it, guys. Some hurricane clips. We'll talk about that next time. But and then fire sealing, fire blocking, which I'm still kind of if about fire blocking. Things that he saw in here. Maybe let's get on that thinking. Efficiency. It's just not thinking that way. Well, I'm not usually leave that in here. Oh, so we do got a couple of boxes here that we can take back. All right, guys. So let's see. He ain't got everything connected, man. This dude is just. He left the unit there, and now I gotta lock the house up every day. It's just, man, I tell you what, bud. Couple different things. And like stuff like this right here. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. It's just not good. Things like these guys got some of these studs. They're not supposed to touch the wall, guys. He said a half inch. I thought they're just not supposed to touch the wall. I got to look at that code because they're not touching the wall. Now, on the insulation, this wall right here really don't have to be insulated because the blocks can be used as actually it's not the blocks, it's the ground can be considered insulation. So that's what the insulators would tell you. That's something that my insulator told me. Looks like we got a hanger that can go up there, so that's good. Okay. Things like that. Oh, organize here. I'm gonna put this up right here. So the frames can come over here tomorrow. Good thing. And those are my hurricane clips. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna look at there's one or two more things. Let me see, did I talk about? So what I'm bringing here, guys, is hurricane clips. That was one of the things he hit me on. Tie down. And the code item just hit me. A rafter tie down. So really these rafters, so if you look up here, so if you look right here, this right here, these are the rafters right here. So they have to be attached to this top plate. You have a double top plate up here. So those clips are you're gonna put nails here, and those nails are and then the nails are gonna go here, and it's gonna grab both of them, and it's gonna hold them together. So that's what you need. The rafters, they need to be attached to that top plate. Yeah. So that's what I'm bringing. Now you can actually do this with lumber. You know, you can take that lumber and come down, but you got to attach to this. Well, you can't do it on. You can only attach to the ceiling joist. You can do it with lumber, but you got to attach to the ceiling joist itself, not the top plate. Right here, because you really got to attach to a ceiling joist. So what I'm going to do, I think these guys came over here and kind of cleaned up a little bit. Looks like things kind of organized here. Got everything off. So here we got so you can see, all right, so the inspectors are going to give you this card right here. And I'm looking for, like, one of them you may have building, mechanical, electrical, and I'm looking for the rough inspection to be signed off. So that rough inspection is not signed off. Like right here, I think this right here is that's the electrical. Mechanical is right here. He hadn't signed off on the mechanical yet. Plumbing, the plumber got his signed off on. This right here is the slab, foundation slab. When we're doing all that stuff, the footings and the slab and stuff, so that's been signed off on. Electrical rough, walls and ceilings is off. Still don't have the mechanical guys, but he made a note on the back. It says mechanical is just not complete. It's okay. Partial mechanical rough. Oh, well, I'll tell you what we be falling around here with mechanical for a year. I'm looking at my vent fans. He still hadn't taken me vent fan to the, if you guys can see up here. Yeah. So that's the vent. This needs to have a pipe that goes out the top of the house. He hadn't done that yet. Yeah. Came with, I just don't get it, man. He cut a hole in the roof, but he hadn't connected the pipe yet. I just, golly, man, I tell you what, man. He got a hole in it, but he ain't put the vent up there. Oh my goodness, boy, this is what I tell you. It's a wrap, man. We'll come through here. Guys, I like to try to find all the holes before I stick this thing up in here because I hate to use a whole thing of this stuff. Oh yeah, this right here needs to be sealed, that whole area. So I need to bring something else to do that. See any, things like, let's see, I don't know if I can get up in here. Let's see if I can get a picture of it when they get started. You see that right there? See it around them pipes with that orange stuff. So that keeps if there's a fire that catches in the basement and it's trying to go up to the top, it's sealed so that the fire can't it had to burn through that orange stuff in order to get to the top, set the top on fire. Gives the people a little bit more time to get out the house. Does that make sense? All right. So that's what that was about, guys. Any questions on that, guys? I just want y'all to see that right there. I don't think I have anything else on that. Let me just see. I think I just went through and kept going with that stuff. That's called Fireblock. Yeah. It's just that foam stuff, man. And you got to get, now this right here is regular. Now the one with the yellow on it, that's just regular, that's regular blocking. You see? It's for like going to the outside, like the dry vent, the space around it. I need to seal that too, because you don't want no roaches and stuff trying to crawl up in there. See what I'm saying? So that's why I do that. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna take a picture of this right here so that they know that. So I'm just letting the guys know that stuff is there. Okay. Are there any questions on this, guys? Let me stop this right here. Are there any questions on that? Got any questions on what we did? All right. Y'all sure? Everybody good? Man, you guys are quiet, man. You guys probably at home eating cereal and watching a movie or something. That's what they doing there. They're like, man, they're just enjoying the convenience of being able to Zoom at home. Or you can come here too at the same time. It doesn't matter to me, guys. I think this is really the way school should be done. You know, you should have the option to do whatever you want to do. All right, guys. So let's. Somebody hit one. Somebody driving. Man, don't get too focused in on what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, pay attention to that road. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and So now we want to go over. Make sure. So last time we were in here. Oh, somebody's trying to get in. All right, last time we were here, guys, we went to let me see, can I find, there we go, right there. So last time we were here, we were talking about, let me just make sure. We were talking about foundation. Let me just pull this right here, foundation. And remember, guys, we're going to be working on the 2021 code. I think most of the people are going to the 2021 code. So we were talking about how this, right? So we talked about the foundation. We talked about footings, right? And I might have to put my glasses on, man. These words, you know, so, man, let me see, can I make these? Let me see, can I make this stuff? I might need to do the handicap version. That ain't gonna be good. All right. So let's let me see, we did talk about so this right here, we talked about the so here we have minimum width and thickness for concrete footings. Okay. And here, so if you got a 1-story slab on grade, it's a slab on grade, you can get away with 12 inches wide, 6 inches deep. See what I'm saying? And now this right here, I'm not used to this right here. Oh no, this is saying the bearing value of soil, and this is like 3,500 pounds per square foot. Now the concrete itself need to be 3,000 PSI, which is pounds per square inch. Okay. The concrete itself. And let me see, and it does, so guys, you don't have to guess about this stuff, guys. You can go right down here and it gives you the different type of foundation that you got. You got slab on grade, which is like a monolithic slab. You have a crawl space. Remember, crawl space, you got a wooden flooring system on it. And then you have a basement like the house we just got finished doing. Okay. So you got all that, and you can go through and I mean, it just breaks everything down. So so this right here will be like a slab on grade right here. So this would be a monolithic slab. The slab and the footing is all one pour. We call that a monolithic slab on grade. And then on the interior walls, the interior load bearing walls, we have what you call a grade beam. That's what that's like A load is hitting that grade. So you got to pour that concrete a little bit thicker in that area. Then this right here, this will be where you have your regular footings and stuff. You get so this is one is a footing with blocks, and CMU stands for Concrete Masonry Unit. So it could be blocks, or it could be. I mean, they make a lot of different type of concrete masonry units, guys. Not necessarily blocks, but blocks is the most common one. So you also have your footing as well. And you have your anchor bolts. Y'all see these anchor bolts here? And I wanted to show you guys something about those. You guys do know what anchor bolts are. Y'all seen like where you tie the anchors, you anchor that, it keeps the house, like when the wind come and try to uplift the house. This is what the anchor bolt does. It holds that bottom plate on the ground. And I had a good YouTube video on that. Let me just see if I still got it here, guys. I think I still got it here. Let me see. Maybe you guys can see I mean, I can't get down here. Let's see if I got watch later. And I think I got it right here.
This is an elbow. If I see these on one of your projects, I'm probably not going to say anything, but I might give you this look right here. L-bolts and J-bolts fall into a family of cast-in anchor bolts where they're used to tie elements down to concrete. They've been used for decades, anchoring your walls down to the foundation, or anchoring deck posts down to the foundation, and they've been used by our friends in the steel industry to anchor down column base plates to the foundation. These things are very strong, they're very durable. However, engineers are phasing these out and just aren't using these on our projects anymore. L-bolts or J-bolts should not be used where they're required to resist uplift forces. Uplift forces I'm referring to are wind-induced at the roof level, which transfer into the load-bearing walls, your rafters, or...
Hey guys, by the way, we're in that area where you get a lot of uplift. Tornadoes and hurricanes, we're in that area, Alabama, Florida, Texas, and all those areas. So by code, we're in those areas.
This is bear on. If the wind force acting on your building is greater than the weight of the structure resisting the wind force, your home will have a net uplift force. But based on updated wind design speeds in recent editions of the code, it's safe to assume that the average single or two-story home will have net uplift forces. It's not that this thing is weak in tension or anything. There's only a small portion of this rod that can be utilized to determine how much this can resist as far as uplift. And that scenario is what we call pull out, the ability of this thing to stay in the concrete without completely separating out of it. When we do that calculation, I can only use part of this bar that would be in direct contact. Now, you would also think that if I pull up on this, there's concrete around the bar that's in contact with this concrete from friction. But unfortunately, we can't use that friction in our calculation. Now, the other reason why I don't utilize these is because of constructability. These are cast-in anchor rods, which means that these have to be installed into the concrete before the concrete hardens. So you need to move quickly, making sure that the anchor is deep enough, it's spaced at the correct spacing that's required, and make sure that the anchors are straight and plumb so you can thread your sill plate through the anchor rod and then fasten it together. Ask anyone who does this for a living. It's difficult. There are another class of anchor bolts that I would recommend that can be installed after the concrete hardens, which we call post-installed anchors. So the type of anchor that I typically specify is what's called a screw anchor. It's exactly what you think it is. It's a screw with the threads around there. The way that this is installed is that you drill the hole first. You clean out the hole you just drilled. You set your sill plate and then literally screw this right into the concrete and tighten the sill plate. These things are strong. They have a lot of capacity, if not more, in some cases than a cast installed anchor, and these are available everywhere, including your nearest hardware store. Another option pretty similar to the screw anchor is what's called an expansion bolt. These things have great capacity, in some cases even more than what a screw anchor has. And it's installed the exact same way. The only difference is that when this is tightened to your sill plate, these flanges at the bottom right here will push down and into this bumped out piece, and these will spread apart, locking it into the concrete. So it's another great alternative as well. And the last is similar. You drill the hole large enough where you can set your threaded rod inside as deep as it needs to be. And then you have this epoxy material that gets poured into that hole, creating this really tight bond to the concrete and to the threaded rod. And these are honestly one of the strongest ways you can anchor something into concrete. Now, I'm mentioning this, recognizing the fact that the International Residential Code allows L and J bolts as a foundation anchor. So depending on the codes wherever you live, they may be perfectly fine. However, if you ask an engineer about using L or J bolts, they're most likely going to tell you no. And for individuals who don't really have a lot of experience doing building construction, there are so many options that provide the same capacity as an L or J bolt without all of the skill that's necessary to be able to install J bolts correctly.
Questions on that, guys? It's like, man, YouTube is great, man. I'll tell you what, man. You guys make a YouTube channel, all right? All right, let's keep this thing moving, guys. So let me just see, where was I at? I was right here. All right. So let me see what else we have on here. It just kind of give you, now you can also, I think this may be a wooden foundation, pressure treated foundation. So this is another. See. All right. So let me kind of go right here. I'm going to go. So we have on chapter 4 foundations. So you have the general, you have the materials, you have footings. We talked about footings, foundation and retaining wall. So you can hit that and you can kind of go over the foundation and retaining walls. So this right here talks about those foundation walls that we use. Retaining walls. And I don't know if you guys are you guys familiar with those foundation retaining walls? Have you guys seen foundation retaining walls? What's going on, man? They look like this here. Sometimes I might have to have all this stuff already pulled up before you guys get here. I always jump off into something else, man. Let me just see. So this is my foundation. So we got your footing here, and this right here is my foundation retaining walls right here. And I don't think I have where they actually formed this one right here, man. But you gotta put those anchor bolts in those, and you gotta put dowels in. This is what the foundation walls look like. So this right here, so that code that we were just looking at, this right here addresses how those walls are supposed to be set up, how thick you need to be, the reinforcement that you're going to have in them. This talks about that. Are there any questions? And then you can go to you can go right here. So now we can go to foundation drainage. And then we have, you got the different type of soils that's involved. You have precast concrete foundation, wood foundation, how you drain that, drainage system. Then you got waterproofing. So now, say for instance, on this particular house right here, let me just see if I can get you guys. See, this is the walls right here. Now you can see where I have the you guys can see where I have the brick layers. This is where I lay my brick at. And then I have what else we got here? Then we're going to get into the break that down. We get into the waterproofing. So now these guys, and I didn't catch them before they actually did it. Let me see if I got it right there. So they this black stuff that they got on here, it's kind of like a tar. That's my waterproofing. So they sprayed that on there. So it keeps that groundwater. So when that water come in through the ground, keeps that water from coming inside. Because you guys got to understand that concrete is actually porous. Got holes in it. Sucks up water. And so you gotta waterproof that. Now that may not stop water. You probably gonna have some remnants of water trying to get in there. So what you got to do is if it gets in, you got to go on the inside and deal with the water on the inside. So they use hydraulic concrete to put on there and patch it up on the inside to keep it from leaking, keep it from coming on through. And that hydraulic concrete, what it does, when it gets wet, it expands. So it really locks that water in. Does that make sense? So this is what the waterproofing part of it looks like. So also with that waterproof, you have a foundation drain tile. So remember we had, I think we talked about that in another class where we had the gravel that's put down there. You got this drain tile got holes in it so that groundwater goes through that gravel, gets sifted through the gravel, keep all that dirt from getting in there. Once you get into that tube, then it flows to the daylight.
Goes all the way out to it.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna take this now. Now you know you got a driveway coming down right here, right? So we're gonna get a solid pipe, not the perforated pipe, and we're gonna run it up under the driveway and dump it out on this side, on this side of the property.
Before you pay the driveway, or the driveway.
Yeah. Before we pour concrete. You can see what the gravel. Now in this case right here, we use another product that we would. Now, on this particular house, we use another product, but we didn't have to use gravel. They got this other drain system that it's shaped kind of like it's shaped like this right here. It's flat, and you don't have to use. It has a sock on it, but you don't have to use the gravel all the way around the pipe. This is like a little, and then when the water comes in, it goes in here, and then it comes in here. Then it hits the pipe, and then it goes out. Let me see if I got any more pictures of that. So this is what the waterproofing looked like. And see if I got any more. See how that little sock thing comes around here, goes around here, goes around here. It's taking all that water. And this is what it looks like. If I can take this guy right here and make it bigger. This is what it looks like when you open it up. You got these little holes in it. Takes that water and move that water around.
It's like that plastic.
Yeah, it's a hard plastic. Let's see, I think I picked up one of them and took a picture of it. And you notice I also had that pipe going all the way through this right here, little stoop right here. This is what it looks like, you see? And this right here, the reason that we got this right here stuff here, that foam right there, is so that when we do our backfill, that the rocks and stuff don't break this black seal. See what I'm saying? So you don't want it to bust it open. Then now water gets in there now.
That would get to the ground.
Ground rod, I did earlier. Yeah, that go one right there. That go ground rod right there. Yeah, it goes into the concrete. Goes into the footing. And the footing, and it attaches to the rebar in the footing. Let's see what else I got. There go another ground rod. You see that ground rod right there? Oh, shucks. Oh, man. I hate when I do that. We got to figure this out.
So does the rebar go all the way to the top part of the house? So that if the lightning hits the top rebar and it ties all the way down to the ground, water goes out.
Now that's not what it's what it's for. That's not what the it's not to redirect lightning. They don't even think about lightning. That's not even a thought. The whole purpose of the rebar and the grounding is to take the power that's being like Alabama Power coming from the power company. That power that's coming in, it redirects that to make sure that the people on the inside of the house is safe when they're dealing with the electricity of the house. So say for instance, if I go stick my hand in one of the electrical sockets, instead of that socket trying to use me out of a ground, it'd rather go to that rebar and go to the footings. It's gonna go to the quickest path to the ground. It's not gonna want to go through me and then go through here and then go to the ground. It's gonna go straight to the ground to that rebar. That's the purpose of it. Has nothing lightning rod. It's not trying to redirect lightning, stuff like that. We don't even think lightning. We figure lightning when you're dealing with homes and stuff is they call it act of God. You know, if your house catch on fire and it was due to a lightning, that's the act of God, and the insurance company is supposed to take care of that. like hitting a deer. You riding down my wife's sister hit a deer. Driving to Florida in a new Tesla. I'm the one that talked into getting a Tesla, man. I talked into getting a Tesla, and she got it. The reason I talked into it because they gave me they gave me $1,000 bonus. So I talked to, I got somebody else getting one too. But yeah, she hit a deer. So, they're gonna fix, that's an act of God, tree falling in the yard, a tree from your neighbor falling in your yard and break your house, act of God. That will be similar to lightning. But guys, this is the code right here that deals with that. Let me just see. So this is the foundation waterproofing. This is damp, and it's foundation waterproofing and damp proofing. So that's what deals with this right here. It's tell us how we need to do this, guys. Below grade moisture. It talks about that. Talks about the 6 mil thick polyethylene film should be applied to below grade portion. So if you look, let me see. Let me go back here. So we go back here. I think I'm doing see, there we go. So that's my polyethylene. Code says we got to put that in there. So this right here, that's below grade, right? So the reason that we put plastic there, because you got groundwater is always trying to come up. You ever go in a basement, man, and the basement feel wet? Well, that's why. The older houses they didn't do that back in the day. Even when you go into a new house, man, I mean, you still feel that humidity. You got more humidity in the basement because of groundwater. So the code says, hey, we got to put 6 mil. Now, I think this new code says you got to use 10 mil. Yeah, 10 mil. The 2024 code. I think they done bumped it up to 10 mil. So that's some really thick stuff. And this guy gave me a break. I think he was on the new code. I did this right here as a 6 mil, but he was like, the code says 10 mil, but he cut me a break. Said, man, don't worry about it. So I actually didn't do that to code. So let me see what else we got here. So that's below grade. Porous field. Let me see. Backfield, columns, underfloor space. It kind of goes in unvented crawl space. So now we're dealing with crawl spaces now. We're also dealing with in crawl spaces. Typically on crawl spaces, you got accesses in the crawl spaces. And then like here, access openings through the floor should be not smaller than 18 inches by 24 inches. So you got to have access. You got to be able, if you got a crawl space, somebody got to be able to crawl up in there. And it tells you the minimum size that you can get away with on that access. 18 inches by 24. I don't know if I can get up in there. Look at, I don't know, one of my shoulders are big enough. He can get through I don't know if I can squeeze my shoulder. That about 24 inches, ain't it? Is that 24 inches? They tape measure my shoulders, man. But yeah, you got to be able to get in that crawl space. I hate going in crawl spaces, man. Golly. They be having snakes and stuff down in there, man. Spiders and black widows. So then you also, let me see, removal of degree, finished grade. Talks about the finished grade, guys. Look at that. So finished grade of underfloor surface shall be permitted to be located in the footings. Tells you, let me see, evidence that the groundwater table can rise to within 6 inches. So it talks about that. Flood resistance gets into that as well. And that's just the foundation drainage. Then you get into foundation waterproofing or damp proofing. Talks about that, guys. That's what we just got finished talking about. Let me see. Then it gets into, let me see. Well, we've been through all these right here. So foundation, you got your general. That talks about drainage and geotech and all that kind of stuff, fasteners and all that stuff. You have materials that you're going to use. Talks about the different materials that you're going to use. You can even do a foundation made of wood. I know we didn't know that. Concrete, which is going to be your main one. I was trying to find where it says concrete reinforcement. Masonry, footings. Once again, we're talking about footings, retaining wall, foundation drainage, foundation waterproofing, columns, underfloor space. That's in your crawl space, or in your basement. All right, so I'm gonna stop right there, just for a second. Questions on this right here. So I want to make sure we're finishing up on this foundation. Are there any questions? Hit me.
Well, the video that you showing with all the different screws.
Yeah, those two screws, yeah.
So, with all those encoded, and then what does your designer call for? If you had 4 different ways in which a foundation screw can be applied.
See now,
All
you're
those 4 things mentioned that the gentleman was talking about in the video.
I was trying to find what this guy right here. Well, let me just bump out of this one right here, man, because this right here is cancel. Above this. See. All right. So what's gonna happen? It's right here. When you deal with the designer, he's gonna put something that's the code. It's gonna now something like this right here. Now, what that guy was giving me, he gave me like 3 or 4 different options. Right. But most plan designers are gonna just go with the basic one that we've been using for years. They don't usually, and let me see in construction phase. Let me see if I can get a wall cut for you. You know, it'll be easier if I went to let me see, Alpha Construction, Home Archives. Let's just look at my personal house. Let me see plans. So a designer is probably going to do something like this right here. He's probably going to and you got to go back to this right here page, and this is going to show you what the designer's probably going to put on here. But I don't even think he put any anchor bolts here. Because I don't, here they go. I just got to make it big. So this is what he puts in. He puts in that J bolt or L bolt, the L bolt. You see that?
The notation.
Yeah. So he puts this in right here. He says, it says seal hook. He says a hook anchor bolt, 6 inches, 6 feet on center, every 6 feet on center. Locate first bolt 12 inches from corner. That's basically what the code tells you to do. Yeah, but he doesn't tell you what type to use. I mean, he got the one. It looks more like the L bolt that you know what I'm talking about, that I use. Yeah, but as long as it's engineered, man. Some people don't even use those bolts. They got a little plate that goes up under that thing, and then it wraps around the stud, and they nail it in. I've seen that before.
But he also talked about it's not required, because I guess that was a West Coast.
No, the anchor bolts are required. Oh yeah, here they are. I don't know. They may not be required out west, but they required here. My first house I built, man, my cousin didn't tell me that, but I didn't use anchor bolts because I didn't go get them, and he was like, "Well, it ain't gonna matter." I was like, "Okay," because he was like, "Well, you know, the weight on the house is gonna be pushing down anyway. Ain't gonna go nowhere when you get it up." I mean, which he's right, but that's not what the anchor bolts are for. Hold on just a second. Hey man, what you got? Hey. Yeah, let me. I'm sorry, man. I thought you had an emergency, man. I was gonna. Yeah, no. Let me hit you back. I'm in class. I'll hit you back. Yeah, them just call me, man. I'll be thinking some on fire. Had to catch it. All right, guys. So yeah, those bolts are keeping uplift. So it got nothing to do with the house being stabilized. Just stop that uplift. It works, yeah. But it needs to be now. I would also have some documentation just in case, because if these plans are drawn like this right here, the inspector could look at this right here, this L bolt, and say, "Well, you said you're gonna put L bolts on it." You see what I'm saying? And if you put if he approved this right here plan, and he said, and you use the other bolts, the red heads and the other bolts that he had, well, you didn't say you were going to use that. You see what I'm saying? So he could say, as long as it meets or exceed the code, we're good. meet or exceed. That's the thing, guys. It has to exceed the code. It can't be less than. So like I said, if I see this right here and I go out there and check and he did something other than what this right here is showing, I can question him and say, hey man, you need to show me some documentation to make sure this right here work. So that does happen too, by the way. All right, guys, let me this thing right here, man. I gotta figure out. All right. So that's the foundation. So that's chapter 4. Let me see if I can bump this in. Chapter 4. Are there any questions on chapter 4?
I had some question on the previous chapter, but I was driving, couldn't get in on.
Yeah.
On the video, when you were showing the placement of the HVAC systems.
Yeah, let me hold on. Let me come back and pick it back around on that because I want to go ahead and knock this right here out. Let me go ahead and knock this out, and then we're gonna go back on the HVAC. All right, chapter 5, guys. So let's look at chapter 5. All right, so chapter 5. Now, mind you, and it should be easy to remember, guys. Chapter 4, foundation, FOU, foundation. You see what I'm saying? That's how I remember. Chapter 5 is F, floors. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, floors. So we're talking about flooring systems here. All right. So it has if you break this thing down, guys, if you go here, so we got wood floors. So it breaks down chapter 5. I'm just gonna make this right here big. See if I can make this. Oh man, I can't. Can I? I can't. This thing won't push me over here. Guess it won't. I was trying to make it big. All right, so if you look right here, so we got floors. This whole thing is talking about floors, right? So you got your general, wood floor framing, floor sheathing. Y'all remember that? You got your framing, you got your sheathing, you got your pressure preservation treated wood. Now you talk about steel floor framing, so they got that going on. Concrete floors, exterior decks. And I think that's it on that. Question on it. So this is how you look at those floors. So guys, remember decks, those exterior decks is on the floors. 507 is going to be where your decks at. So let's just kind of look at each one of these right here. So the general part, if I can make that smaller. General. So you talk about the application, the requirements. Let me see, application. The provisions of this shall control the design and construction of the floors for building, including the floors of attic spaces used to house mechanical or plumbing fixtures and equipment. So that's what this right here is about. So we start out with wood flooring, wood floor framing. And it's going to go over all that stuff. It's going to go with lumber, sawn lumber, treated lumber, end-jointed lumber. Yeah, I remember we talked about that end-joint. Well, that was another class. Yeah, that was another class. We talked about the end-jointed lumber, prefabricated wood, I-joist systems, structured glue, laminated timbers, a glue lam, that's what they call them, long structured composites. And notice how it kind of sends you somewhere else with those right there. It tells you to go to the ASTM standards. We're going to talk about that later in this class. But they talk about that. Because those things are not covered by the code. Those things are telling you that they have a whole nother system that they use to say, hey, this is how these products should perform, right? These products should perform like this right here. And as long as it meet that requirement, you're good. The code to say, okay, we're good with that. It's kind of like engineers. Engineered wood rims, and we also have design and construction. But this is a typical flooring system right here, guys. If you can kind of see how that looks. This is a typical floor system. Now, let's look at this right here. So, and then this is the terminology, and if I can try to make it big enough where I can see everything. But Josh, you can see that you have your seal plate. That's the one that's turned like this right here. Then your rim board is turned like that. So your seal plate's like that. And then you have so they got band, rim, or header joist. Now, I used to, my understanding, I could be wrong, is so it's calling this joist. You see this joist right, that little skinny joist right here? I can't make it bigger. Y'all see this? I can make it bigger. Y'all see this joist right here? I'm not talking about this. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this guy right here. This joist right here is called the band, rim, or header joist. Now, I thought it was called the header joist if the flooring joist, which these are the flooring joists right here. If the flooring joists are perpendicular to it, it's called the header joist. That was my thought. I think I'm still right. I think I'm still right on that. So then you have your seal plate. That's the plate that goes on the concrete first. And then the ceiling joist sits on top of the flooring joist sits on top of the seal plate. And then your rim joist butts up to the flooring joist. That's how that works. And this is kind of like we're just looking down at a flooring system, guys. So you got remember you got your girder. So you got your weight of your house right here. So you got like your footings and stuff that's holding this up. That's your block walls with the seal plate. And then right in the middle, we have what you call a girder. That's maybe 2 by 12 or something like that, all lumped together. And those flooring drawers sits on top of that girder. Okay. Questions?
Every 16, or that's the wow.
No, that's the flooring drawers. Flooring drawers. It just depends on what the plans say, man. The plans can say, let's just say, for instance, we go to these plans right here, and the plans say, and we're gonna find out why. Now, this guy right here, he gets his information. So he tells you, all right, like right here, 2 by 8s at 16 inches on center, right? But let me show you where he gets it from. He gets it from the code, because the code is telling him floor drawer spans, right? And so it says that if you use number 2 lumber, and you're going to use 2 by 8s, right? So number 2, and let's say typically we use southern yellow pine right here in Alabama. So we got number 2 lumber, and we're going to use the 2 by 8s. The span is going to be 14 feet, 11 inches, basically 15 feet. So if you got a room that go from here to here, 15 feet, you can take those 2 by 8s and be 16 inches on center. Because right here it tells you, let me see what is this? Is it 16 inches on center? Maximum floor span, floor and joist. It should tell you floor joist spans for common lumber residential sleeping area. Oh, no, this right here is 12 inches on center. See this right here? This is 12 inches on center. If you want to be 16 inches on center, the farther you go out, the weaker that lumber going to be. All right, so if you go out, and we did the same thing, and we used number 2 lumber with southern yellow pine, and we used 2 by 8s, we can only go 13 feet. And you can even go out to 19 and a half. You can go out to 24. You can make them 24 inches on center. It ain't gonna be no big room. Now you done bust it down to 10 feet. So you got to have a room that's less than 10 feet. This is where this guy get that information from. So the plan designer gets his information from this code book, and then he said, okay, well, this is how he knows how to draw this stuff up. This is how he knows how to do this right here. So this is how he knows how to go to this floor right here and say, okay, this room right here is 12 inches, about 13 inches wide. So we're gonna span those flooring joists. We're gonna go this way, 2 by 12s at 16 inches on center. But you should be able to check that. You guys should be able to go to your code book and look right here. You can look at what that guy put on his plan, and go to this right here and look it up and say, okay, he got that span right. They're gonna expect you to do that as a builder. If you're a builder, that's why. If you look at his plan, I'm gonna show you something else too, guys. If you go to his plan, if you look at his general notes, he's gonna say the following notes are suggested minimum requirements. And he's going to say something about anything that goes wrong, the builder should have checked it. All work should be performed in accordance with all applicable national. Contractors should verify all conditions and dimensions at site before beginning construction. Any discrepancies shall be reported to distinctive design or something like that. But he puts that thing on the builder. Contractor should check that. You know. Questions? Anybody got questions on that? So this right here is your span table. And notice that this right here span table also, let's see, this span table is for floor drawer spans for common lumber species, and this is residential sleeping areas. Live load equal to 30 pounds. Y'all know what a live load is? Somebody give me an example of a live load.
Is everything plus the people or whoever is inside the structure.
Yeah, it's things that you can't move. I'm sorry, it's things that can move, like furniture. You can move furniture around, right? So furniture, that would be considered a live load. Dead, man, you know, I might have to take one of these things right here out. A dead load, man, let me see. I'll take this out. That'll help charge up this thing, yeah. All right, give me just a second, guys. Let me just make sure. Can y'all hear me at home? They can't hear me. Let me see. Give me just a second, guys.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I thought I had to change my mic. Man, I had to unplug this microphone because it's sucking up too much power. And I didn't have my computer all the way charged up when I got here. So yeah, we good now. All right, so let me go ahead and get back here. So a live load is things in that house that we can move around. Dead load is something that's going to be there, and it was built within the house. Cabinets, it's a dead load. That's additional weight that's added to the frame of the house. It's just going to be there. You don't tear cabinets out and move it around like a chair. So you got a chair, you can move it over here, you can move it. Or people move it around. Those are live loads. It doesn't stay there. It doesn't stay put. Countertops. A tub would be a dead load. Tub is sitting in one place. That's a dead load. You don't move those things around. So this is what it's talking about. Okay. Let me just see what else we got here. Let me see what else spans. So we got other span. Let me see. Floor drawer spans for common lumber species, and then it increases the live load. And I think I usually use 30, the first one. Like in Alabama, we just use 30. Let me just see what else. All right, so you do have another portion of, and guys, this right here is another important portion too. Let me just make sure I got this right here. Let me see. All right, let me just, it also addresses cantilevers. You guys ever heard of cantilevers? So a cantilever is like on a fireplace where the floor bumps out a little bit. You can see it on the house. It kind of bumps out. It just, you know, this house right here, this house I built got a cantilever on it. Let me just see. Let me see if I got it framed up though. Let's see if I got a picture of it. Well, I tell you, man, this thing right here, this thing. Dang it. Thought I had a picture of it right there. Just so I can just, yeah. Got everything but what I'm looking for. I gotta take better pictures. Here it is right here. This right here is a cantilever. You guys see that? Shucks. And I gotta figure this out, man. I keep pushing this thing over. Maybe I can stop this thing from doing that. I had a perfect picture of it, man, and I just couldn't. This thing right here moves slow. It's trying to download. Where that sucker at? So this right here, yeah. Yeah, this right here is a better picture right here, but it's right there in the middle. This right here is a cantilever right here. You see how this right here protrudes out, but it don't have anything up under it? It's a cantilever. Now, this right here, now I know it don't look like it, but this lumber is one continuous piece all the way on the inside. You see what I'm saying? All these flooring joists is one continuous piece all the way. Does that make sense? And that piece right there is being held up based on what's the other flooring joists. All right, so that's what a cantilever is. And it looks like, let me just see, it looks like this right here. For the most part, guys, it looks like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing with my code at. There we go. So if you look at your code, it actually has a there we go right there. So it has a cantilever right here. This right here will be a cantilever. It bumps out right here. I think that's why they put that here. And you got to do it like this. You see how they double those joists up like that? That's how you're supposed to do them. Let's see what else we got here. So it talks about cantilevers. It says floor cantilever spans should not exceed the nominal depth of the wood floor. Floor cantilevers constructed in accordance with the table shall be permitted with supporting a light frame. So it tells you how to do those cantilevers as well. It also gives you your cantilever spans. Then it gives you allowable girder and header spans. So it tells you, if you want to look at the girder, you remember we talked about the girders? That's what holds up the floor and joists. It tells you where you got to go. It tells you, we ain't dealing with this in this chapter. You need to go to another chapter. And it's typically, it's going to push you to the chapter where you talk about headers. It's the wall chapter. That's the next one. Okay. So it's going to push you to chapter 6. It says the allowable spans of girders and headers. So girders and headers are treated the same by the code. Fabricated of dimensional lumber should not exceed the value set forth in tables R602. R602 means it's in chapter 6. Okay. Talks about bearing walls, floor systems, joist framing, ladder restraint, bridging. I think we talked about that. Here's another important one too, guys. It tells you how you need to notch. Like when you cut holes in floor and joists, it gives you your tolerances. You can't make your hole this, you can only make it this big or that big. You notice that your holes can only be drilled a third of the distance, a third of the width of the board. And you can only put it in certain places, like you can't put a hole within this area right here. See this area right, the middle third, the middle portion of the third, you can't put it right here. You can put it over here. And if you got to notch it, the depth of this right here, you can only notch a fourth of the distance, a fourth of the depth. So if I got a 2x10, 2x10 is what, about almost 10 inches? Actually, it's 9.5 inches. So if you got 9.5 inches, you see, 9.5, we're going to divide that by 4, which is say divide by 4. You can only notch on a 2x10 about 2 1/4 of an inch. You can't notch that thing too much. You done messed up that lumber. You got to replace that whole floor and joist. You destroyed the integrity of that item. What else we talking about? Engineer wood. Talk about your fasteners. And it tells you, it says floor framing shall be nailed in accordance. This tells you how to fasten up everything too. How many nails you should shoot in there. Remember you was out there shooting them nails? It tells you how many you need to shoot in there, how many you gotta, and you can't really shoot too many of them because now you're messing up the wood. Okay. Openings. It discusses openings. How wide you can make these things. Let me see. Wood trusses. Bracing. It says truss design and drawing. So it tells you what slope, depth, tells you all the stuff you need to know about that. Draft stopping. It tells you need to go back to R302. Fire blocking. I need to look at this. Fire blocking should be provided in accordance with section 302.11. I'm gonna write that down, guys, because This dude told me to do some Fireblock, and I don't think he's right. 302.11. I'm glad I went over this today. 30. We're gonna see if he's right in a minute. Sheathing, y'all know what floor sheathing is. That's your subfloor. It's identification, end joints. What else we got here? Just kind of getting you guys acclimated to this right here. Novel spans, insulation, particle boards. Are we in the right chapter? Let me see. 504. Now it gets into steel. Let me see what a steel. Let me see if we got a picture of the steel frame. There we go, right there. Steel frame floor. I hardly ever go on this side of the book, man. I don't do too many steel frame floors, but this, hey, it discusses that. Some people like to build their houses out of steel. Rich folks. Look at that. It's more complicated. Wood is just so much easier to work with. Look at all that. That's steel, man. At least you don't have to worry about it burning down. And then you got to cut that steel, man. That's got to be a headache. Jeez. All this right here is steel here, guys. So this part deals with steel. You got concrete floors. So we got this part deals with concrete floors. Let's see if we got any cross sections and stuff. What is this? Oh, this right here is your decks. So I got guys that build decks and stuff. So it goes over your decks. And this is 507. So it talks about how you need to build your decks, spans and stuff for your lumber on your decks. Remember that the deck is pressure treated. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to get to that. Yeah, it goes heavy into those decks, guys. And this is, I got some guys, that's all they want to do is build decks. Let's see, exterior decks. There we go. Fasteners, tell you what kind of fasteners you got to use. And then, like, a lot of time in the code, it tells you, okay, fasteners, metal fasteners, and concrete connectors used for all decks should be in accordance to R317.3 and table 507.2.3. Let's look at one of them right there. Let me just find one. So 507 R 507.2.3. Let's just go look at one of those and see what it looks like. Well, that is right there, 507.2.3. This is the table right here. Stainless steel, silicon, bronze, or copper. Hot, dip, galvanized. You see? Nails and glue lambs, the bolts, they need to be hot dip galvanized. Your washer needs to be the same. See, it tells you how everything needs to be done, guys. Questions on that? Y'all see this? There's nothing that you really need to be guessing about when you guys are building a house. Now, I'm not telling you guys, man, and please don't try to go around here and memorize this stuff. You guys just need to be able to go to this code book and find it. That's what we need to be able to do. We don't need to be, we don't need to be memorizing a phone book. Too much information, but you need to know how to find it. That's why when you take the home builders licensing test, they just care about you being able to find the code. All right. Let me, what was that code I was trying to look at? 302.11. Let me just see. 302. 302. 302.11. Y'all see how I'm looking for that? Get on up there. 302. Fireblock, and here we go. All right, it says in combustible construction, fire blocking should be provided to cut off both vertical and horizontal concealed draft. In combustible construction. So that guy not giving me the right thing because I'm not combustible. Fire blocking should be provided in wood frame construction in the following locations. In concealed spaces of stud walls, partition including horizontal, and concealed vertical for the fire blocking of chimneys, at openings around vent pipes, ducts, cables, wires, at ceilings and floor level. That's only on combustible areas though. So yeah, I think he was wrong and I was right. I'm always right, even when I'm wrong. Fireblock 6. Okay. All right, guys, let's stop right there, man. Questions? Anybody got any questions, anything, man? This is 6 when I gotta charge. I should have charged up this thing. Questions? You guys got any questions? Everybody good? Not good. Still lifting weights, man? You finna start doing bodybuilding and stuff? Yeah, man. I used to be into that stuff back in the day, man. I used to want to be you playing soccer? Okay. Yeah, you gotta find something to get that energy out, man. And yeah, lifting weights, man. I got me a whole nice little. I gotta get back in the weight room in my own house. But all right, guys. Thank you guys for participating. I'll see you guys next time. Wrong one. There we go.